السلام عليكم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Amen. In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful. All praise is due to God, Lord of the worlds, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful, sovereign of the day of recompense. It is you we worship, and you we ask for help. Guide us to the straight path, the path of those upon whom you have bestowed favor, not of those who you have earned, not of those who have earned your anger, or of those who are astray. All praise is due to God, Lord of all that exists, and we praise all the prophets and messengers of God. Indeed, we belong to Allah, we belong to God, and to Him we will all return. We gather here today as witnesses before Allah, before God, that Mohamed Magdi Taha was one of the best people we knew. He lived an upright life and left a righteous example. He was a model of kindness and service to many in this community and beyond it. While he lived a moral life, building his legacy in this world, he was also building an eternal home with God. With death, one life ends and an eternal one begins. We ask God to make his everlasting life one where he is showered by forgiveness and mercy of God, the most loving. We ask God to bless him with the companionship of the best of mankind, with Prophet Muhammad and all the messengers, with righteous companions, and with our beloved Mary, Khadija, and Aisha. To replace him with a better home, and to surround his existence with light and bliss. May God make his memory among us one that will motivate us to carry on his good work and praise his name.
Thank you so much, Sister Nada Alami, the Muslim chaplain to MIT. I am Thea Keith-Lucas, the chaplain to the Institute. It is my privilege to welcome you here to our chapel. It is always a heartbreak when we lose a young person, when we lose a member of our community. The loss of Mohamed was particularly hard for his family and friends because this community was so far apart from one another in August. And it is a great honor to be able to gather you together in the hope that we all find comfort and strength in one another. Someone said to me recently that if you are out driving on a busy road and there are cars in your way, remember that it's not that you are in traffic, because you are the traffic. You too are one of the cars making the traffic. I think community works the same way. It is not that we are in community right now. Each one of us is the community. We are grateful to one another, and we can be grateful to ourselves for whatever effort it took to come to this place, to know that we've come together to be community, and to honor the courage, the peace, the beauty, and the light that Mohamed brought into our lives. We are especially honored by the presence tonight of his family. On behalf of MIT, I thank you from the bottom of our hearts for sharing him with us for the time that we had. And we hope to bear the burden of his loss alongside you as we would lift up any member of this community, and also for his particular gifts and the love that he brought to so many. So we will have remembrances now from family and friends, and we will begin by hearing from Mohamed's father. Mr. Magdi, please.
Assalamu alaikum. I guess this is one of the most difficult speech I ever gave or I will give. I think Muhammad was a very special son. Since the day he was born, he was very special. He was like a wind, like an angel in the house. He grew up and he used to love Lion King, attending Lion King all the time. And then he called himself Mufasa. Then I told him, Muhammad, you are not Mufasa, you are Simba. He said, no, I am Mufasa and you are Simba. Interestingly, Mufasa died before Simba. And then life goes on. He was so bright. When we came to Sudan from California, Muhammad was born in California, Fremont, California, in 2001. And we came in 2010, when he was in his fourth grade. I remember the first week, his teacher called us and told us that Muhammad, we need to put Muhammad in a higher level because this is not his level. Then I told him no, I want Muhammad to be with his age. He said, okay, I respect what you want, but I'm going to give him the level of grade 5. I said, that's okay, as long as he is with his same age. Then, every time, I knew he's sharp, I know that he was that child. And every time I tell him, Muhammad, you need to do this or you need to do that or you need to study. I say, Dad, don't worry, I will do it. And he does it with over expectation. Everything he does is over expectation. And then the friends that he has, every day he come up with the name of a friend and said, I was with this guy, he's Amr, with Mustafa, with this, with this. I never heard of these people. Those are my dearest friend. How many dearest friends, Muhammad, you have? He loved everybody. I think one of the things that Muhammad has is love, to love people. And that love is contagious. And people love him back. The amount of love that he gave to everybody, his family, to his mom, he never said no to him, ever. Every time I asked him to do something, he exceeded my expectation. Then he went on in life, and then he joined Khartoum International Community School, which is one of the most prominent schools in Sudan. The school that actually prepared him to get to MIT. And we have the director of the school, Sami Omar, with us here. He came to attend this event. Especially. When he went to school, when he went to kids, then he started to show his leadership. He was a leader. I guess he was a leader before that, but I didn't see that. Every time he come up with something, or I see something that you never expect. He was a very polite person, very polite. He gives everything. Any money he has, he just gives it to people. The last day, Thursday, August 11th, he went with a friend of his, and then a couple of people, 4 people came asking for money. Usually people give a 1 billion or 2 billion or something. Muhammad took all the money he has and gave it to them. And they started to make dua for him to go to Jannah. That was on the second day. And on that same day, he told the person that he was his friend. He said that I feel that there is something big that's going to happen. Usually Muhammad expressed himself by writing. He's a very good writer. He writes a lot of poems. And he said that I failed to exactly write what I feel. But he put in his notes, started to write, but he couldn't finish. I want to read the part that he wrote that same day. He said, he wrote, memories carried over a bent shoulder, across valleys, through hills, edge of mountains, winds of heaven. That was the last thing he wrote on that same day. Interestingly, it's as if that he feels that there is something going on, and there is a message that he wants to leave for me to say in his memorial. Allow me to just read for you. He wrote that I think about 2 months ago or 3 months ago. He said, if they ever tell my story, let them say I bled openly, that my heart influence but was boundless. It's like a time dimmed, but never silent. Let them speak of my love in all its lion-heartedness, for if nothing else, that is what I offer this world. My action will not echo across the centuries. My name will be lost in memory. But the love I share will live endlessly. And if they mention nothing at all, let them say my love was immortal. Its reach blind, embrace kind, touch gentle. Let them say my heart danced with the wind, and that my mind followed. Conscious, always be conscious. Afraid of tragedy, but fully aware of the strength to be found in calamity. Those words that he wrote maybe a couple of months ago, as if he knows that he's saying goodbye and he wants me to say this in his memorial. I would like to thank MIT. I would like to thank the president of MIT, Mr. Rahami, Sister, everybody who made this possible. Of course, Ilham, Ilham, who is a champion, and everybody who made this possible. I also would like to thank Ms. Sami Omar, the director of Khartoum International Community School. As I said, the school, the high school that Mohammed went to, and the school that prepared him to come to MIT. When Mohammed applied for the universities, he applied for all of the Ivy universities. He was accepted in 12 Ivy universities plus MIT. MIT was the first to accept him, his full scholarship. May his soul rest in peace. We just want to say that in for his soul. Thank you all.
Hamidi was my little brother. And I don't think he knew it, but I really don't. I really don't. In a lot of ways. He was my lighthouse. Anyone knows me now? So when everything happened, it felt like, I don't know, maybe it was disappeared. And everything went quiet. But then as time went on, people started talking and coming and sharing stories about him. I realized that I still have Hamidi. Maybe not in the same way that I've always had him, and maybe not in the way that I'm used to having him, but that doesn't mean that he's gone. So what I want to say to everyone is, whatever connection you have with Hamidi, whatever he gave you, whether it was love or friendship or laughter or a joke or a class, whatever it was that he gave you still have that. That piece of him is still with you. So he's still here in all the lives he touched. And lucky for us, he touched so many lives. So I know that everywhere I go, I'm not just carrying him with me, but I'll see him in someone else. And I think there's so much beauty in that. And I think there's so much love in that. And he loved to love. So alhamdulillah, and I pray that inshallah Rabbana showers me with love and light and so much laughter. And I want to thank everybody that put this together from MIT, and I want to thank Maram and Ilham and Mario and everybody. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Hatem, Moody's cousin. And Moody was the first ever little brother I ever had. From both being born in the States, moving to Sudan. We were always together. And even from a young age, when I used to steal his toys, his parents always gave him better toys. My parents did. He would share with me, even though he's 5 years younger than me. And yes, we used to, I remember when we were younger, as we grew up, he started teaching me a lot. When we moved to Sudan, it was a really big moment I had when I realized Hamidi was someone I can, look up to so much, because when we moved to Sudan, I didn't know a word in Arabic. I didn't know how to even make friends. He would tell me, let's go to Nadia Man, the German club, recreational center. And I told him, I can't speak any word in Arabic. And he told me, so what? Just play some soccer. Just make some friends. Come with me. And I used to go with him. And that's how I became more confident. And that's the thing with Hamidi. He was always himself. He was unapologetically himself. He never did anything half-hearted. And you could see, he's the best representation. His father, his mother, his beautiful sisters, the whole family. He was the best one out of us. He really was. And as he grew up, we had so many recent trips in the last couple of years. He visited me in Los Angeles. And just 2 months ago, we were all together. All these people here in front of us in the first row. Literally, just 2 months ago. And I always remember his lustrous hair, beautiful curly hair, just like in Fasa. And his laugh will always echo in my heart. And you guys could see how many people just came to his funeral, how many lives he touched, how many people we think he was just phenomenal little brother, And he meant so much to my little brother, Ahmed. So much. Ahmed, when I left to college, Hamoudi became his big brother, Hassan and I had to, leave Sudan. Hamoudi was there for Ahmed. And he was, the bond they had, there's nothing like it. And, it's just surreal, but he was just someone that I loved catching up with. I loved giving him advice. He always gave me advice. He always accepted everyone as who they were. He was unapologetic with himself. And as I write about him, and I learn more about his poems, think about it, he really accomplished so much, and he never regretted one day in his life. He's done things that people in their 80s have never done, from protesting, to being an activist, to being a poet. He never shied away. He had this confidence, or really, how would you like to say, charisma. The charisma. And I'll miss him forever. And I hope he's resting peacefully with my own father. I hope he's very happy that everyone's here to come pay their respects. Oh, how I wish I could reverse everything. Switch places. His love will never die. His laugh will always be remembered. And I will always remember to be just like Hamid, confident, brave, always fighting for himself and also for his friends. He was such a wonderful. Thank you all for coming.
I can't imagine how incomplete it will feel to spend the rest of my time at MIT without Mohamed. I met him during the spring of our freshman year. We immediately bonded over our matching flannel pajama pants. Mohamed has been one of my closest study partners and friends ever since. I'm so lucky to have had as many classes with Mohamed as I did. He was able to make me feel happy and calm even though we were trying to understand the most complicated material we had ever seen. I truly don't believe I could have gotten through the first few years at MIT without him. Some of my favorite moments with Mohamed, believe it or not, were when we were studying the night before exams. Most of these study sessions would morph into chatting late into the night while eating ice cream, but nevertheless, we always felt calm going into the exam next day. After an exam that didn't end up going well for us, Mohamed told me that everything would be okay, and Mohamed was one of the only people to ever convince me of this. Mohamed always knew how to comfort people, even if comforting meant simply flashing his contagious smile. It always worked. He was an incredible listener and loved learning about other people's lives. He listened to the songs that friends recommended to him so he could connect with them on deeper levels. He always remembered what people told him and could make anyone feel heard. One moment with Mohamed that I remember the most is when he was deciding what to get for his family and friends as gifts when he saw them again. Among these gifts were children's books for his young relatives. Over the break, Mohamed sent me a video of his nephew smiling while holding up one of the books, The Lion King. He said that his nephew was a little genius already and couldn't wait to see what he would accomplish in the future. When it was my turn to get gifts for people, I knew exactly who to go to. He could tell me lists of things that anyone he knew said they liked or wanted. Mohamed was such a good gift giver because he always knew what would make everyone happy. He taught me so many things that have and will continue to help me. He taught me about the world and how to make a difference, how to listen, and to see the positives of any situation. I will always miss the messages he sent to me. When I saw his name appear on my screen, I knew I was about to get happier. If he knew I was going through a rough time, he would send me a funny message or picture each morning until I felt better. Another thing that Mohamed taught me is to always take pictures and record memories. Last semester, he told me that he wished we had more pictures together because he loves looking through photos of him and his friends and family when times get hard. Looking back, it's hard to believe that Mohamed was ever struggling because he was so skilled at making everyone feel happy. He was serious and passionate about what he fought for, but he could also be playful. Mohamed loved watching cartoons and comedy movies because he loved to laugh with people, and he told jokes because he loved to see people's faces light up. Mohamed will always be remembered by his smile and his passion for everything that he did. I will miss seeing him around campus, smiling, eating in the dining hall with him, and going candle shopping with him, because he always picked out the best candles. But his presence will never be forgotten. Whenever I hear Sundress by A$AP Rocky or Tokyo Drifting by Glass Animals, I will feel Mohamed's presence with me, just as I did when we heard those songs together for the first time. When I see kids reading books, I will remember Mohamed introducing his young relatives to The Lion King. The moments that I am lucky to have shared with him will forever stay in my heart, and I am so grateful to have had him in my life. Even though I only knew him while at MIT, our friendship was genuine and lifelong, so thank you, Mohamed, for everything.
All right. So I wasn't actually going to give this speech until today. I wasn't on the list, but I was told I had space, and I might not have had the relationship with Mohamed that some people in the front row did, but I felt like I had some words I wanted to say, so I decided to come here and give it. So I guess I knew Mohamed only at MIT. I met him when I first came here. And a lot of people at MIT remember Mohamed as an activist, someone who was true to his ideals, and as a poet, someone who could speak beautiful words and communicate himself in a really poetic way. And he accomplished so much in both of those fields at such a young age. But that's not necessarily how I like to remember him. And that's because even if he had never done anything with activism. And if he had never written a poem, I would have loved him all the same. Because to me, what made Muhammad so important and so impactful was the fact that every time I hung out with him, he always found a way to touch my heart. And it didn't matter that he was fighting things back home or that he was writing poetry to me. All that mattered was that when I spent time with Muhammad, he made me feel really good. More than anybody I think that I met here, Muhammad made me feel safe. Ultimately, he was a year older than me, and I think of all my friends at MIT, he was one of the calmest, most observant, and positive people that I met. And in some senses, for the first year of my time at MIT, he served as like a big brother to me, a lot. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that brotherhood and how I got to know him. And hopefully that speaks to all of you guys. Anyway, so my first semester at MIT, all of ours was virtual. So we were all at home in the fall. And a lot of people at MIT spent their first semester on Facebook, on Instagram, on Snapchat, making friends at MIT. But I didn't do any of that. I spent my entire fall hanging out with my high school friends. So when it came to the spring, everybody else had a friend or two or three or four. Most people had 6 to 10. Some people had 40 to come to MIT with. But I had nobody. And I had to live with somebody, so I actually went through this Google spreadsheet and I hit up Mario. And he and his friend Mohammed were looking for someone. So I said I was game, and he said we figure it out. And we didn't figure it out because Mario actually couldn't even come that semester. So what happened was it was just me and this kid I had never talked to living next door to me together. And we had to figure it out, me and Mohammed. And I remember when I came to MIT, coming to MIT, I had no friends. And I was so worried that I was going to come to a place where I'd just be lost, where my high school friends wouldn't be there for me anymore. And there really wouldn't be anybody who really understood where I was coming from or what I was about to experience. And then I moved in, and then the first day I went on a walk with Mohammed to Shake Shack. He still hasn't paid me back. But I went on a walk with Mohammed to Shake Shack, and we talked for a very long time. We talked about how he loved soccer, how I love basketball, why he's at MIT, why I'm at MIT. The fact that we grew up the first 10 years of our lives literally 5 minutes away from each other, because I grew up in San Jose. And yeah, that's when I began to feel like maybe MIT isn't going to be that bad. Maybe I can make friends. Maybe like my high school friends weren't the only friends I was ever going to connect with on that level. And then we met another guy, Colin, and I remember this one moment, and it's pretty silly, but me, him, and Mohammed watched Superbad and Colin's movie. And we just talked about all kinds of things, like how all of us didn't talk to anyone at MIT before getting there, how we just loved our high school friends. I think it's dead. No, it's dead. But yeah, stuff like that. And that was the first time I realized, like, I had a brotherhood here too, just like my high school friends. These were 3 guys that I thought I was going through this one experience of not knowing anybody here and just being so close to the people back home and so far from them. And 2 other guys were in this room with me going through that exact same thing. And from that moment, like, we just got closer and closer. And I think each one of us contributed unique things to the other 2 that they didn't necessarily have. And for me, Muhammad always provided this unique ability to make me feel safe. More than anybody, and I've said it earlier, Muhammad had Muhammad just made you feel comforted. He made you feel comfortable. Like you could be going through any type of day, and just interacting with Muhammad, he wouldn't even have to say anything. He could just point out little things. He could just say less. He could just smile. It didn't matter. He always found a way to calm people down and make them feel comfortable. We spent long nights freshman year talking about our deepest fears and then talking about what our goals for the future were. And he always told me that he was going to do something great, that he was going to build something from his knowledge at MIT, and he was going to go somewhere really far. And I told him I was going to do the same back in freshman year. And after freshman year, we started to drift apart, honestly. I moved across the river. He moved to a new dorm with Mario. So we each kind of moved to our own communities. And I saw him less and less. And I think even then, he had this crazy ability to just make me feel calmer. Like if I was just walking through the halls, he always noticed when I got a new haircut. He'd say, "That haircut's crazy, that haircut's fire." If I bought a new piece of jewelry, he's like, "That jewelry looks so good on you." He could always notice the little things that I had did that I didn't even notice because he was so observant, and then just point them out, and then you really felt safe around him. You felt like there was someone looking out for you because he was noticing all these little things that you didn't even notice were there. And I guess that's kind of a silly example. But one deeper example I really like to talk about that touched me was at the end of last year. One of the last memories I had with him was last semester was a really hard semester for me. And I was really lost about where I was going to go and what I was going to do. Like I didn't really know what I wanted to do with anything in my life. And our entire group went to watch Batman, and Mohammed brought this other friend of his from North Carolina, and he didn't really know any of us, so afterwards I introduced myself. I started talking to his friend from North Carolina. We were talking about internships, and I was kind of telling his friend that I was like, I had an internship, but I didn't know at all what I was doing or what I wanted to do. And Muhammad just stepped in. He didn't say, he hadn't said a word up to that point, but he stepped in. He was like, nah, like, this guy, no matter what he decides to do, he's going to make us all proud. I already know it. Don't worry about him. He's just talking. He's getting in his head. And in that moment, I don't think he knew what it meant to me. I think he was just joining the conversation. But to me, he really let me know that no matter what decision I was going to make or how I was feeling in that moment, like I was going to find a way out of it. And he was right. He really just had that ability, as I've been saying this whole time, just to help you take a step back and feel safe about everything because he was observing the bigger picture when you weren't. And again, I never had the time to tell him how much that moment meant to me. And I guess I just took the time I had with him for granted. So I guess I'm going to end my speech by saying a little bit to him directly. I've been speaking to all of you guys about my relationship with him, but I guess to him directly, I would say that, I mean, there's so many things I wish we would have talked about and so many more memories I wish we would have made. And it's tough, and I feel like I took our time together for granted. I always thought we had 4 years, and that when we got to graduation, everything that needed to be said and done would have been said and done. But I never realized that every day I spent with him was something I shouldn't be taking for granted. And I did. And if there was ever something that he wanted to tell me or a memory he wished he would have made with me, but we didn't because we were taking that time for granted, I'm really sorry about that. I should have made more time, but I do want him out there somewhere and know that in the 1.5 years that we did know each other, every moment that I spent and you were there, Muhammad, yeah, he made it better. Every moment that I spent and Muhammad was around, he made that moment better. And I wouldn't take back any one of the memories I made with Muhammad because each one of them, looking back on them, makes me feel so much more happy and fulfilled. And for that, he'll always have a special place in my heart. So I promise, like, I'll remember him as I grow older, and even though he's gone, like, I'm gonna make him proud one day. So, like, rest in peace, Mohammed, because you kind of earned it. That's it.
I wrote some words down to say about Muhammad, not because I don't have a lot to say, but because I have too much. And I didn't know how I would feel in this moment. Muhammad was one of my really close friends at MIT. He was like a little brother to me. From the first day that I met him, I've never considered him a friend. He always felt like family. I think he had that effect on a lot of people. I wrote here that I don't know how to start this speech. Seems like one of those things you shouldn't have to start because it seems so final. It seems like an end, but all we ever spoke about were new beginnings, new dreams, new ideas, new goals. We talked about the future and things we were building, what we hope to see in the world. Part of me is angry that I ever had to write this speech and talk about Muhammad in this way. Sometimes it's easier to face it head on. Sometimes you have to talk around it just to feel better in the moment. Being here back at MIT feels like Muhammad is still here, that he's gonna call my name very loudly from across any building. No one ever said my name with so much enthusiasm here. You always knew it was Muhammad. It was warm and kind and joyful, just like him. It was pleasant and hopeful and lighthearted, just like him. It was friendship, it was understanding, it was family, just like him. He had a laugh like my cousin, a smile like my brother, a mischievous streak like my partner in crime and purpose. I knew from the first few times meeting him that we spoke a really similar language, that we valued the same joys in life, and had experienced some of the same lows as well. When I met Mohammed, he was right outside this building, sitting on a bench with Mario, his little penny board back in the day. He gave up skateboarding, but it was one of his phases. I really got to know him very well when we started planning protests together in Boston to support the Sudanese peaceful movement. Muhammad moved with a very distinct purpose. He was always joyful, he was kind, he had a smile, but he had a deep purpose that you could see if you looked hard enough. It was something that said, I know pain. It was something that said, I've lived through a lot of the same injustices that I'm here in support of. Now that he's passed, I think a lot about how someone could live through kinds of violence, repression in Sudan that happened throughout time, but 2018, 2019, only to pass in the same streets years later. Think about where justice is for him, for others, Like I said, I do feel a bit angry to be here, but for a lot of worldly reasons. Muhammad had a future that was so bright, a heart that was too loving for this world. I think that's why he went back. They say the good die young, and Muhammad was the best of us. I still kind of expect him to come back from the same airport that I dropped him off at. When I'm dropping him off at Boston Logan, it's 3 a.m., he was still joyful. I woke him up, he had slept for an hour. I told him not to be long. He chose forever. I wrote here that I don't know if I have tears left to cry. I don't think that's true. We cry in this whole ceremony. But the craziest part about all of this is that I know Muhammad is so happy right now. I know he's smiling. He's doing that crazy laugh of his, just looking at us now. I know that he's really joyful. I know that he's among the favored with God, and that he figured this life out so much quicker than the rest of us. He's always faster, moving fast with purpose, with a goal. I know Muhammad left in peace, even though that wasn't the reason. I say Alhamdulillah, thanks be to God, and I really mean it when I think about him. Because there's so many people in the world praying for him right now. There's so many people doing good in his name. And there's no bigger purpose and legacy than that. I'm so sure that each of the people in this room and beyond are still living through you and are comforted despite all of their sorrow, are comforted through the words that you told them, through the experiences and warm memories that you had with them. During the last couple of weeks of the semester, remember Muhammad had moved out of his dorm. So I said, when is your flight? He said, in 2 weeks. I said, where are you gonna stay? I remember he told me, he said, Ilham, Muhammad Qudrasi, which means wherever I put my head down, I'll sleep. He had a really simple point of view on life. He had so much trust in his friends, he had so much love for them, and he knew that they had the same trust and love for him. He knew that any one of his friends would open their door for him, and that they would do it with joy. They're happy to have him there. We all were. He was full of love and unconditional support. I always said that the only way to beat Muhammad at this game was to one-up him. He would always try to pay the bill before you did, even if he was with much older people. I remember we went out one time with 2 of our friends. 3 of us were graduating, and then there was Muhammad. Paid the bill for everyone. I always loved when he called me. I knew that he wanted to go somewhere, he wanted to do something. And he was gonna tell me to get everyone together. He was always so fast. In Islam, we believe that the end is a new beginning. One of my favorite verses in the Quran talks about this entire life being like the blink of an eye. I think about that, I'm comforted. I think that we'll all be able to meet him soon, talk to him again. I wanted to say this to all of you, because I know he wouldn't want you to leave from here sad. If he were here, he'd be trying to comfort all of you, even though we're all here for him. So I wanted to say this. Don't limit your capacity for joy just because you know sorrow. Don't shy away from love, full, unabashed, kind love, because you know heartbreak. Our privilege is to feel pain, and it's equal only to the amount of happiness that we have. Whatever sadness we feel today is equal to the joy that we had in knowing Muhammad. If anything, please take this as a time to do the opposite, to pursue your goals wholly and fully, to be with those you love, making memories and sharing time together, to think about the impact that you can make on other people's lives as well as your own. Say what you feel to the people who need to hear it from you in those moments. These are all things that I learned from Muhammad. I'll forever be thankful for all the time we spent together, for the midnight drives to IHOP, because we wanted to get all of our friends together, for the bike rides by the river, because it was one of his favorite places in Cambridge, for the last minute dinner plans, because we didn't make any other plans to hit Ramadan, for the talks about life and happiness and direction. Alhamdulillah for all of these times. I'm so glad to have known you in this life and in the next. I pray for mercy for you, first and foremost. I pray for heaven for you. I hope that you know that we're going to build the world that you wanted to see, and we're going to live with the love that you gave us every day. Rest easy, Mufasa, Muhammad, the Lion, Hamoudi, MT, had a lot of names. My friend and my brother, until we meet again, inshallah. Please save a place for us.
Just like what Muhammad's father mentioned, one of the most difficult trials in life is the loss of a loved one. God explains to us in the Quran that trials are to test those who have true faith. God says, "We will certainly test you with a touch of fear and famine and loss of property, life, and crops. Give good news to those who patiently endure, who, when faced with a disaster, say, 'Surely to Allah we belong, and to Him we will all return.' They are the ones who will receive Allah's blessings and mercy, and it is they who are rightly guided." The companion Abu Hurairah reported Prophet Muhammad saying that God says, "I have nothing to give but paradise as a reward to my believing servant, who, if I cause his dear friend or relative to die, remains patient and hopes for God's reward." We ask God to grant us His help to be among those He has mentioned in these verses: the rightly guided, the truthful, and the patient. May God bring down His mercy upon all of us and help us face these difficult times with steadfastness and resolve. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. Our Lord, do not deviate our hearts after you have guided us, and grant us your mercy. You are the ever-giving. O Allah, forgive our living and our dead, those present and those absent, our young and our old. O Allah, whom among us you keep alive, then let such a life be upon true submission to you, and whom among us you take unto yourself, then let such a death be upon sincere belief. Amen. O Allah, do not deprive us of Mohamed Taha's reward and do not let us stray after him. Ameen. O Allah, forgive Mohamed Taha and elevate his station among those who are guided. Send him along the path of those who came before and forgive us and him. O Lord of the worlds, enlarge for him his grave and shed light upon him in it. Ameen. O Allah, this son of a servant of yours is now in need of your mercy, and you are not in need of punishing him. If he was pious, then increase his rewards, and if he was a transgressor, then pardon him. Ameen. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث. In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful. By the morning brightness and by the night when it covers with darkness, your Lord has not taken leave of you, nor has he detested you. And the hereafter is better for you than the first life. And your Lord is going to give you, and you will be satisfied. Did he not find you an orphan and give you refuge? And he found you lost and guided you? And he found you poor and made you self-sufficient? So as for the orphan, do not oppress him. And as for the petitioner, do not repel him. But as for the favor of your Lord, report it. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful, did we not extend for you your breast, and we removed from you your burden, which had weighed upon your back, and raised high for you your refuge? For indeed, with hardship will be ease. Indeed, with hardship will be ease. So when you have finished your duties, then stand up for worship, and to your Lord direct your longing. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful, say, He is God who is one, God, the eternal refuge. He neither begets nor is born, nor is there to him any equivalent. صدق الله العظيم وبه نستعين. God Almighty has spoken the truth, and we seek help only from Him. So with this, I think we're going to dim the lights now, and we'll turn on the candles. There will be, after that, prayer in the prayer room next door, and then we will have the poetry night as well.
I'm going to pass the light one to another. Thank you, those of you who have lighters, for getting some of us started. And just as Lena talked about, each one of us having a bit of of the light Mohammed gave us. Pass your light to the next person and know that we are together, that we find strength and comfort in one another, and we share this light. I'd like to close with a poem by Mary Oliver, who I think, though a very different person than Mohammed, is a kindred spirit, especially after we've heard the words his father shared. It's called When Death Comes. When death comes like the hungry bear in autumn, when death comes and takes all the bright coins from his purse to buy me and snaps the purse shut, when death comes like the mesopox, when death comes like an iceberg between the shoulder blades, I want to step through the door full of curiosity, wondering, what is it going to be like, that cottage of darkness? When it's over, I want to say, all my life, I was a bride married to amazement. I was a bridegroom taking the world into my arms. When it's over, I don't want to wonder if I made of my life something particular and real. I don't want to find myself sighing and frightened or full of arguments. I don't want to end up having simply visited this world. And therefore, I look upon everything as a brotherhood and a sisterhood. And I look upon time as no more than an idea. I consider eternity another possibility. And I think of each life as a flower, as common as a field daisy and as singular. And each name, a comfortable music in the mouth, tending, as all music does, towards silence. And each body, a lion of courage and something precious to the earth. Thank you all for your words, and for your listening, and for becoming together a community tonight. We invite you to stay with us. If you go out from the chapel and turn right, past the big white tent, the next building is the Kresge Auditorium. There's tea and hot cider and cookies waiting for us there. And then we'll have a chance to hear from one another Mohammed's poems and other poems that people have brought at the poetry meeting tonight. Thank you all, and many blessings go with you.
Thank you. All right, I'm gonna end the live stream now, but thank you everyone for watching, and the new tiny URL link is posted below. I'll start the stream in 10 minutes-ish. Hope everyone is taking care.